Hello, this is Tom Britt. West Tennessee PBS is working hard to bring you more local shows and quality PBS programs. And they need your financial help because they don't run commercials, they rely on your support. It's easy to donate. Go to their website, westtnpbs.org, and click on the Donate tab. Your donations to Channel 11 stay local and help WLJT-TV continue their mission to be as local as possible.
Thank you, David. As a graduate of then Lambeth College, I'm honored and privileged to introduce today's program. But before I do, maybe just by show of hands, how many individuals have either gone to Lambeth, had a family member gone to Lambeth, or somehow involved with Lambeth? Let's see a show of hands. See who you're talking to, Jenny? It's amazing the impact that this school has on this community. And some even play basketball, right, Jody? Or football, right? But Dr. Jennifer Miles began serving as the executive director of the University of Memphis Lambeth campus in June of this year. As executive director, Jenny serves as the chief administrative and operating officer of the Lambeth campus. She has worked in higher education as an administrator and as a faculty member for over 30 years. She has extensive experience as a practitioner in higher education, including serving as Vice President of Student Services and as Vice President of Student Affairs. As Senior Student Affairs Officer, Jenny has overseen student affairs, student services, and enrollment management at a multi-campus community college and a comprehensive four-year university. She has served as a faculty member, coordinator in higher education leadership preparation programs, including certificate, master's, and doctoral programs. Experience as a faculty member includes serving as associate professor in higher education, leadership graduate program director, and assistant professor of higher education leadership. Her courses are designed to prepare students for their roles as college and university administrators and faculty members. It doesn't say, but I'll bet you mopped floors and cut grass too, didn't you? But she's interested in the experiences of contemporary college students. Her research has explored student governance and leadership, including examining the perceptions and observations of student leaders. She earned her bachelor's degree in communication from Florida State University and has a doctorate and master's degree in administration from school in Tuscaloosa. Larry Smith, what's that school in Tuscaloosa? Roll Tide. But it's my privilege to introduce Jenny. Thank you, Jenny.
Good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here. I have to say thank you to Bill. Bill, I've met Bill a couple of times so far at events around town, and he told me at one event, I'm going to introduce you for Rotary. Can you send me a bio? I'd like to give you a good bio, really give a strong introduction. And so when I put that together, I didn't realize how much information I put in that introduction, but thank you, Bill. Thank you for doing that. As y'all know, I am the executive director. I've been here 2 months. I've tried to learn as much as I can in 2 months, but I'm still learning, and I'm recognizing that I have a lot to learn. One thing I want to share before I go into my PowerPoint, like I said, it's been 2 months. Y'all have welcomed me. Oh my goodness. When I walked in this morning, there were folks I knew that I was saying hi to. As I was visiting with folks and folks were coming up to me to introduce themselves and shake their hands, there were folks next to them that I'd already met. So the way that y'all have said, we know you're new here, we want you to do well, we want you to feel like this is your home, and y'all have actually, your behaviors match that, I just have to say thank you, because it means a whole lot to me. And like I said, the fact that even today, after only being here 2 months and I've never been to this meeting before, I felt like I had a lot of friends and colleagues in the room, so thank you for that. So I'm going to dive in, and speaking of, I have to, of course, recognize again my Lambeth campus colleagues. Thank you, Kiernan, thank you, Jamila, and thank you very much to Lisa. I like having y'all support here, so thanks everybody. I'm gonna dive in. I probably should have pointed that way. Y'all heard a little bit about my life's journey, but I just kind of want to give a narrative behind it. I did grow up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I went away to school. I was joking yesterday with someone. They were like, why Florida State? And I said, at the time, I thought it was my act of big rebellion. Because growing up in Tuscaloosa, I loved the University of Alabama. I wanted to go away. I wanted to be on my own. So I found Florida State somehow, and I loved it. I went home for my master's. I went home for my doctorate in Alabama, but I had a detour. When I was in college, I had it in my head, I want to go to the big city. What happens if I go to a big city by myself and I just look for a job? Can I make it in the big city? Can I get a job at a big, important company? So I went to New York City by myself when I graduated from college, and I wound up at Rolex Watch USA. I got a job in customer service at Rolex Watch USA's headquarters on the corner of 5th Avenue and 53rd Street in New York City, and I worked my way up. I started out as a customer service rep. I got promoted to team leader, and I got promoted to supervisor. I had a great time in New York. I had a great time volunteering in the arts. I had a great time talking to really interesting, famous people and rich people who wanted to talk about their watches. But my dream was higher ed. I'd fallen in love with higher ed, and I knew it was my dream. So I went home, like I said, I got my master's and doctorate, and I started out as a grad assistant, and that was really important to me. I wanted to start out at the very entry level and really work my way up. I really wanted to understand how colleges worked, how universities worked. So when I got to the University of Alabama, I was a grad assistant in student life, and I was the Panhellenic advisor. So I don't know if anyone knows anything about Bama Rush or has watched any of those documentaries, but I was the Panhellenic advisor for the sororities for 2 years there. So I learned a lot behind the scenes. It was nothing like it is now. This was a long time ago, but it was a good learning experience. And then my first professional position was at Albion College. Albion was founded as a Methodist institution, a small liberal arts in Albion, Michigan. And then I worked my way up. I went up and down the East Coast at different colleges and universities. And it was really important to me, like I said, that I worked my way up. I've been a grad assistant. I've been a coordinator of student activities. I've been an associate director of campus programs. I've been director of student development and retention, director of activities and orientation. I've been a vice president twice. I was at Mississippi University for Women. I know there are some W connections in this community. I was there as VP Student Affairs for 9 years, also working in enrollment. And I was at a large community college. My last institution was Hines Community College, a 6-campus institution. I was VP of Student Services. We had about 9,000 students. I was over all of enrollment, all of student services on 6 campuses in central Mississippi. So I spent my days driving around the different 6 campuses overseeing teams. So I was really thinking, what's next for me? What would be a new experience? And as y'all heard in my introduction, I've also been a faculty member. I love teaching. And I got to teach master students and doc students. I got to teach folks who did what I've been doing all these years. So I love teaching legal aspects. I love teaching management, administration, all of that. So I started thinking, what's next? And I saw this opportunity. And I saw there was a lot in this position that really attracted me to it. Number one, I think they're kind of neck and neck. University of Memphis, Research One institution, well-known institution, and it's a branch campus, a smaller campus. That faculty mentoring aspect, the community involvement aspect, the beauty of the campus, that faculty-student ratio that's so low, all of that really attracted me to it. So I applied for the job, and I got it, and here I am. So why am I here, and what have I been doing? Here we go. So again, why the university? And why Lambeth? Like I said, it was really important in my career to work at different types of institutions. Like I mentioned, I've been at small liberal arts, small privates, large privates, community colleges, high residential, low residential, a lot of adult learners, a lot of graduate programs, like a variety of institutions. And I saw the best of all the worlds here. When I met the students, when I met the faculty, when I saw the mentoring, when I saw the personal attention, that really won me over. And then the fact that it is the University of Memphis. It's an R1 institution and everything that means. I shared the story when I went to True Blue Day. There are some colleagues here that I met at True Blue Day, and when I was at True Blue Day, I shared a story. When I interviewed for this job, day 2 of my interview was day 1 was on the Memphis campus, day 2 was on the Lambeth campus, and I remember I walked in, I'm like, oh, I've never been here before, I'm so excited, and I talked to someone and said, oh, I can't wait to see campus, and she said, okay, walk to the back of Varnell Jones. I'm sure a lot of folks here know Varnell Jones. She said, walk to the back and look out the window. So I'm like, okay. So I walked to the back and I looked out the window and I was like, oh, wow, okay. Let's do this. It was beautiful. I felt like I was in a movie about college. The architecture and the trees and everything was just drop dead gorgeous. And I was like, I can see myself here. So all of that just meant so much to me. So like I said, it was really a combination of factors. And then executive director, I mentioned I've been a vice president before at 2 different institutions. I've been the person who's had all these different areas in my portfolio. I've overseen police. I've got really interested in intercollegiate law and collegiate law enforcement. I've worked closely with facilities. I've been the person who is over housing and res life. I've worked closely with marketing and communications. I've partnered with business services. I've been a faculty member. I know what it's like to teach classes and having to build your syllabus. So all of that, when I saw this position, I'm like, oh wait, I can pull all of these different experiences from my entire career, and this is what they're looking for. I can do this. And so that's really why I chose this institution. Another part, and I really want to talk about this, the community. It became super clear to me when I first interviewed for the position that the community was critical. The connection with the community and the role of the community. And I have to really thank the folks on the search committee because they made it clear to me from the very beginning. And I don't even know if y'all know this, you might, but they made it clear from the beginning. They're like, you know, if you accept this job, we need you to know you will be living in Jackson. You must be in the Jackson community. If you're going to be part of Lambeth, that's who you need to be. And I said, absolutely. The community came up time and time again in the interview. The Chamber of Commerce, connecting with the Chamber, that came up time and time again in the interview. So that was something that I was really interested in, and it meant a lot. I met someone from the Chamber during my interview, and so I saw that connection and how important that was to everybody. So that really helped. The community's meant so much to me throughout my career that when I saw that, I was even more invested. So like I said, it's been 2 months, but I've tried to have a busy and productive 2 months. In my 2 months, the first thing I've tried to do is really, I was telling someone earlier today, I've been telling my colleagues, and y'all might laugh because y'all have heard me say this every day, I say, it's a year of learning. I know I have a lot to learn. Yes, I'm so proud of my experiences, I'm so proud of my education, but I totally understand every institution has its own culture. Every institution is different, and I'm working so hard, and I talk to my folks about this, not to go into any decisions with assumptions, but really having a very open mind, really looking at facts, really talking to folks who have different perceptions, folks with different observations. That's been really important to me. So to help facilitate that, I've been having a lot of meetings, a whole lot of meetings. I've met with a lot of folks one-on-one on the Lambeth campus and one-on-one on the main campus in Memphis. I've been going to the main campus at least 1 full day a week. A couple times have been 2 days a week. Last week was 3 days a week because I want to get to know folks. And I thought if I was going to start this summer, I was going to use this summer as effectively as possible. I mean, I'm so excited for the students to come back, first day of classes, Monday, August 25th. I'm so excited to actually be here when we have students, faculty, and staff. I'm so excited. But I was thinking, how do I use these months before the first day as effectively as possible? So that's why I've spent a lot of time having one-on-one meetings, small group meetings, getting to know folks on the main campus, getting to know folks in the community. One thing I've done, and I've been sharing this with a few folks, I just thought this was really important. In addition to the individuals that I'm working with, that my team members are working with, that we kind of work with every day, maybe that we even report to, I wanted to get to know the chairs and I wanted to get to know the deans. And so I spent last week meeting, I had offered to meet with every dean on the main campus and every chair who has a program represented on the Lambeth campus. And that was so eye-opening for me. Like I said, I'm really just trying to listen right now. And so just hearing from the different chairs about their programs, hearing about their priorities on the Lambeth campus, hearing about the deans and the dean's understanding of the Lambeth campus. It's been a really, really great use of my time. So that's been wonderful. Community. Y'all, again, have been so welcoming. Several of y'all I met originally at Senator Ed Jackson and Marilyn Jackson's home. They partnered with the Chamber, and there was an absolutely beautiful reception. True Blue Day, the Lambeth alums were very kind. They invited me to attend True Blue Day, and they even let me speak, and my apologies if you've heard some of my stories from that day. But that was absolutely wonderful. The alums gave me a wonderful, wonderful reception down at Jackson Walk in the Pink House, which I loved because I've been curious what it looked like inside. And we had a great time. Actually, this Sunday I'm going to an alumni board meeting. So y'all have just really actively included me in things and involved me in things, and I really, really appreciate that. I'm flipping to my notes because I cannot see that font. It's okay. I love a backup. Something else, so like I said, I've been listening, I've been asking lots of questions, cannot wait for the students to come back. When I interviewed for this job, like I said, I spent a half day on this campus because we had bad weather coming. So I was on the Lambeth campus half a day. I don't know if anyone remembers that first week in April, some really bad weather was in town. But I got to sit down and talk to the students, and I was so impressed by the students. They love the Lambeth campus so much. They love their faculty, they love their programs. So I'm really looking forward to visiting with them. We've been registering students for fall of '26. We've had one orientation, and we have another one coming up August 12th. We really think it's going to be a very strong orientation. One thing I do want to mention, I talked about how I've spent a lot of time in the main campus, getting to know my colleagues, getting to know counterparts. I've received so much support from the main campus. I've sat in meetings with my supervisors, with my coworkers, who say in front of groups on the main campus, let's do everything we can for the Lambeth campus. Let's talk to our colleagues at the Lambeth campus. We want them to be successful. So I have been hearing that in meetings, and I've wanted to share that with as many folks as possible, because those connections have been important. One example, I mentioned orientation, which should be a really strong orientation on August 12th. I went to my colleagues on the main campus and said, we're going to need some help. We need some extra professionals for certain sessions. And they said, absolutely, we'll be there. Absolutely. So those kinds of connections and building those collaborations, that's meant a lot. And I love being able to bring that back to my team on the Lambeth campus as well. We also had a very successful DPT open house. As y'all know, we are starting a doctorate of physical therapy. It's a doctorate, and as y'all know, there is a big need right now for physical therapists. There's a really big need for that in the health professions. So we are starting our doctorate in physical therapy. So I'm really interested to see, having a doctorate on the campus, what that's going to look like for the campus overall, and what that's going to look like for the community overall. I have to give credit to my colleagues who've been working on that, because as I've been getting out and getting to know folks in the community, word is out. It's not a secret. Everyone has done a great job marketing that. Folks have been a great job talking that up. We had an open house on July 18th, and we gave a tour of the building. DPT will be located along with many of our science courses in Hyde Hall. Hyde Hall, if you've been to campus, if you know Hyde Hall, it's looking fantastic. All the rooms are getting prepared to teach our DPT students, and it's looking really great. The open house, July 18th, it was so nice to see prospective students and their families, and to see them walking around campus, to see them interacting with their faculty, and how they wanted to be part of this. The students are going to start, their first semester is fall of '26. So our colleagues are working really hard with their accrediting bodies. They're working on the curriculum, they're working on the courses, so we cannot wait to see that launch. And if anyone has been part of these efforts behind the scenes, because I'm starting to learn, there are community folks and community partners who've been working behind the scenes to help us. If you're part of any of that, thank you very much. I realize it's taking a whole community to make this happen. So that's going to be fantastic. And classes start August 25th. So I will finally get to see what the campus looks like when it's filled with students and filled with faculty. So I can't wait for that. I mentioned the DPT. I just want to talk about that a little bit more. It is a doctorate. It is a 3-year program. We are starting out, like I said, fall of '26. The faculty are absolutely wonderful. The folks running the program have done an absolutely amazing job of attracting top-notch faculty. Faculty who are already faculty and who have taught this at other institutions, and faculty who are strong practitioners, clinicians who are going to bring best practices, what's really happening in the field, to the program. And it's been fun for me getting to interact with the faculty, with the folks working in the program, because I've never been anywhere near a DPT program before, so it's been fascinating just hearing how they talk about it and learning the lingo a little bit. So that is the DPT. And what else? Wrong way, Jenny. There we go. That's it. And now I'm happy to answer questions.
How many students will you have overall for campus?
That is a great question. Unfortunately, I cannot answer that right now. Once we're a couple of weeks in, we should have more of a solid number. But right now, I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Yes. Oh, again, I don't. Lisa, can you answer that? We think about 40. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. What other questions or anything else that you'd like me to talk about? if there's a part of my life story I haven't covered. Yes?
Have you thought about joining an organization like Rotary?
Right. I have.
Your predecessor was.
Yeah, and I'm so happy you mentioned that. Niles Reddick, as y'all know, had this job for a while, I think almost 10 years, so a long while, very invested. And I contacted him one day, and I just emailed him, and actually Jamila helped me find his email, thank you, Jamila. And I emailed him and I said, can we just chat? Can we have an informal conversation? And he gave me an hour and a half, and we just talked. And he was so generous. So yeah, he did mention Rotary. So I am thinking about doing it. But if I do, I want to give 100%. I want to be able to do all the activities and fulfill, because I know it is a big deal to be in Rotary. I know there are a lot of responsibilities. So if I do it, I definitely want to do it right. But can we talk, you made me think about something else I'd love to touch on. I want to talk a little bit about my title. My title is Executive Director. And when Niles had the position, I believe he was Associate Provost or Vice Provost, and I believe he was Dean of the college at one point. And then, as y'all know, Dr. Rick Bloomer, who was interim, did my job on an interim basis last year. He's Dean of Health Sciences, which is over the DPT. He was interim COO when he did this job. My title is totally different. It's Executive Director. And I directly report to the CFO, COO of the University of Memphis. He is my direct boss. So my peers on his leadership team are things like HR, the police, business and finance, emergency management, HR, marketing and communications. So those are the peers when I'm on his leadership team. So those are my peers. I'm a dotted line to the provost. So I'm a dotted line to the vice president for academic affairs. So although I'm a direct report to the COO, CFO, I'm also a dotted line to the provost. So I work a lot with the provost's office. I work a lot with his team, and I work a lot with the deans. I actually sit on the provost council. So I kind of want to share that. Right now I am living in both worlds, and the reason why I share that, it's a little different than previous structures. And it's been great for me because I've been able to work very closely with things like business and finance, work very closely with marketing and communications, and really look at how all the pieces are working together. Because bottom line, it's all about serving students. Bottom line, that's what it's all about. So I just want to thank you. When you asked your question, it made me think about that, so thank you. But what other questions? Bill Brewer. Miles from Niles. I will remember that now. Okay, thank you. Yes?
We're excited about this program. You said the university just expanded other allied health areas.
Right now, it's just the DPT.
Is your plan about expanding?
At this point, I'm not aware of anything. At this point, it's the DPT. Of course, we have the LCON. We have the Lowenberg College of Nursing, which is very strong, and that's doing really, really well. But yeah, right now, it's the DPT that's launching. Yeah. Right now, we're just really focusing on the DPT. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here today, and I especially appreciate your not wearing red today. And I'd like you to make a commitment that you won't ever wear red to a future Rotary meeting.
Okay. I have to share a story. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just tell him never to wear orange.
Orange? Oh, okay.
Black and gold is acceptable.
I was actually shopping the other night, and I saw a really nice red blazer, and I did not buy it. Memphis blue. Memphis blue. But yes, I am still loyal to my previous institutions, of course. But yeah, I will keep that promise. What else? What other questions? Anything else I need to cover? Awesome. Thank y'all. I appreciate your time.
The program you've been watching was made possible through the generous financial support of West Tennessee PBS viewers like you. Please visit westtnpbs.org and make a donation today so that we can continue to make local programs like this possible. Thank you.